Naughty Dog's newest franchise, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, was just revealed. Even though we only have the trailer and some snippets writers have given in interviews, I think we can get a decent understanding of the plot and gameplay. Developers have said this game is reminiscent of Naughty Dog's old action-adventure roots with a mix of decent storytelling. This seems pretty similar to the Uncharted franchise, which is super action-based compared to the heavy storyline of The Last of Us. I think the biggest differences between the two series will likely be the setting. Rather than exploring ancient civilizations, Intergalactic takes place on Semperia, a distant planet whose communication with the outside universe went dark hundreds of years ago. Additionally, the protagonist, Jordan, has some differences as well. She's not necessarily an adventurer per se, but a bounty hunter tracking down a band of criminals. It's even seeming likely she might have once been a part of this group. I think this will make her a bit more dynamic, with a similar vibe to everybody's favorite Joel Miller. As this game is set in an alternate universe, where advanced space travel existed by 1986, it's unlikely there'll be any connections to Earth or past civilization as we understand it. This means Semperia will likely be a very alien planet. The trailer does, however, show us that it's Earth-like in its appearance, but the alien robot creature is definitely inhuman. We also know this planet has been cut off from outside contact for over 600 years, and once someone is in its orbit, they're unlikely to leave. Based on the different flying objects surrounding the planet, it's probably going to be a miracle that Jordan survives the landing. In terms of the overall vibe, the game seems to be retro-futuristic. The trailer shows Jordan watching anime, listening to 1980s music on a Sony CD player, flying a Porsche spaceship, and wearing Adidas sneakers. It'll be cool to see how this futurism will clash with the old planet, as Jordan will be wielding an insane-looking laser sword in a battle against forces that haven't upgraded tech in hundreds of years. The director also mentioned that the story will be heavily based on a fictitious religion and show players what happens if you put faith in different institutions. We know The Last of Us 2 touched on religion and competing factions quite a bit with the Seraphites versus the Wolves. I'm guessing there might be a similar conflict between Semperians and people from Jordan's civilization. I think the most interesting part of the game will be the story of the Five Aces. This criminal group seems to have mysteriously vanished on this planet, but I highly doubt they're laying low. Based on Jordan's conversation with a woman who's likely her agent, one of the Five Aces called Colin was stranded on the planet's moon, while the rest are likely on the surface. She also talks about some insane rumors of what took place on the planet years ago. This all builds up to it being a super dangerous mission. It's likely whatever factions do live on Semperia are highly hostile to outsiders. I can honestly see this turning into a rescue mission rather than a bounty hunter mission. There's also the possibility that the Five Aces are actually super dangerous and terrorizing Semperia, which would have Jordan teaming up with Semperians. Either way, it's a super cool storyline with a lot of potential. This is one of the first big studio games that's taking place in an environment like this, so it'll be exciting to see how it pans out. And I'll end with this because it's super hard to find a video on this game that isn't a hate video. I think the current hate Intergalactic is already receiving is unfounded but unsurprising. It'd honestly be pretty hilarious to see how these people would react if The Last of Us was made this year. It's one of the best video games of all time, with Ellie being a super complex and overall beloved character. But if it was made this year, who even knows how it would do? I doubt a lot of these people would even give it a chance, which is super short-sighted and sad for the future of game development. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this game? How do you think it'll do? And most importantly, will you be playing? Leave a comment below.